Today, I'm here with Rob from the Miniatures Paintbrush, and it's coming. No, that's no good. I didn't say it's the podcast or anything. Let's start again. In today's Warhammer 40k podcast, I'm here with Rob from the Miniatures Paintbrush, and it's coming right up.
Necrons!
Perfect. Nick speaking, and welcome to today's podcast. And I'm here with the awesome Rob from the Miniatures Paintbrush. Hello, Rob. How are you doing?
How's it going, Mr. Beer?
Going very well. Thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, especially as obviously you are not in the UK, are you?
Yeah, I'm in the United States. I'm from the state of Maryland, actually, on the eastern coast. It's a lovely little place to visit. We have excellent crabs if you ever come by, Nick.
Excellent. Well, to be honest, I'm not a seafood man, but my other half is a seafood woman, so I'm sure she would like to do that.
We'll bring her along, of course.
Oh, you never know. One day.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we are here to find out all about you, find out all about your hobby. We're going to find out all about your awesome YouTube channel, which I've been a fan of for a very long time. We're going to talk about that. Of course, it is linked up in the description below, so make sure you check it out. And at the end of the video, we're going to be talking about the state of the hobby, let's say, with 10th edition, etc. So I'm really looking forward to this. Are you ready, Rob?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's get started.
Okay, in the hot seat. So first of all, how did you get into this awesome hobby of ours?
Well, I started out when I was a child building model cars. I'm a bit of a car fanatic, and 1/24 scale was one of my things. Also, my father was a World War II veteran, so I had an affinity to World War II planes. The Spitfire, which I had one, and then B-52 bomber. A Flying Fortress, as well as some Mustangs. And what I did is I took fishing wire, and I was meticulous about every button and everything showing. A lot of the skills that we use to today's hobby, using meticulous things and creating little shading. And then I had an actual dogfight happening on top because I tied it with fishing wire. So it actually planes on top of my ceiling, just having a dogfight in my room. So I was always in love with small things, small details. One day, I was passing by the Empire State Building in New York City, and there was a store at the base of that called The Complete Strategist. I remember that fondly. And I was passing there with my wife at the time, and it just drew my attention. The person that owned the store was a Golden Demon winner, and he had some of his miniatures displayed, it really enticed me. Me coming from the world of looking at Dragon magazine and loving Dungeons and Dragons, I love the miniatures. So seeing one painted to such a great quality, it just really enticed me. So I had to enter the store. So once I did enter the store, I offered the person money to buy the miniature that he had painted. I went all the way up, back and forth bartering, but he said it's not for sale. I went up to $1,000 for that one miniature, and he said it is not for sale, but I'll tell you what. Here are some paints. Here is a paintbrush. And you can build your own miniature and paint it. And I'm like, okay. And this was before the age of YouTube, so it was really hard and mostly trial and error, error and error. And then, learning about thinning my paints from Duncan Rhodes. Now, fast forward, I'm here. So I did take a break from the hobby. I started in 1999, I would say. And then I took a large break from the hobby, began teaching, and I've been doing that for 27 years. But I got back into the hobby when I came back into Maryland. And I think one of the first boxes that I bought in the 90s was Warhammer Fantasy. It was elves and dwarves, if I remember correctly, fighting battle. And I just fell in love with Games Workshop games after that because the quality of the miniatures, they looked like, funny and goofy, but the detail was there. I could see the person's yelling faces, and I was like, wow, that's really, really nice. So when I came back to the hobby, Fast forward into 2020, I would say, 2020, almost like uh, 11 years later. I started with just collecting boxes. Space Wolves really enticed me. And so I had a couple of boxes of things. I also liked AOS, which was just about starting out, and the Gosh and the Night and all the Death faction. So I decided on one. I was watching one of your videos, a Get It Started challenge. I remember that. And that inspired me to just pick a box, even though I was intimidated, to get it started. And it was the Space Wolves. And I fell in love with those. And so then that evolved. I did have YouTube at this time when I restarted. So I was looking at painting techniques and how to do things, layering and glazing, just watching and studying. I'm a very studious person. And then trying and applying and then add my own twist to it because I just don't paint methodically. I want to do my own thing. I mean, you know, by the Sabus Slanesh models that you make, that you wanted to do your own crafting. There's something about this hobby where it gives you that freedom to do something like that, which is such an amazing thing. But yeah, that's how I kind of started. Just happenstance, walking by a store with my wife and just stopping dead in my tracks and looking how gorgeous the miniatures were. And I said I always wanted to play competitively, actually. Yeah.
Actually, that was a great story. And actually, there's two things it reminded me of. One, even though I started quite late in the hobby, I was 30 when I started, I do actually recall building and painting a Spitfire myself when I was a wee lad, when I was very young.
Nice.
I remember I think my cousin helped me glue it because I wasn't really old enough to handle the glue, so I must have been pretty young. But yeah, I remember that actually, and again hanging it off the ceiling.
Have you too?
Yeah, absolutely. It has to be done, doesn't it?
Yes, it has to be.
Yeah. And the second thing was, you're right, when I first started to paint, there was no YouTube videos and stuff, and I learnt by looking at the pictures in the codex and trying to duplicate them, which is why my Necron army looks like the 3rd edition codex.
Makes sense.
So so it wasn't until I got my Eldar, which I actually then started to learn painting techniques, and like you say, then the YouTube was a thing, and much easier to learn things then. So yes.
So when you paint an army, do they all have to look the same? Like, you improve as a painter the more you paint. Does your army have to look the same? Do you intentionally not paint as good? That would drive me insane personally. I try to paint my Necrons are much higher quality what I do now to when I started. Yeah.
Even though it's just dry brushing the majority of the time. And if I have a unit which I'm painting, I try to make it look like the same as before, but if you look closely, you can see that the new one looks much better than the old one. So I do have that, and I've got some units where I'll have the orbs will be glazed rather than layered.
Nice.
And then I've improved it over the years, but ultimately, when you look at it, it looks like the same.
I think my Mark 5, Mark 10 Marines, the old Marines look a lot of mistakes were made on those. Lovingly, I tried non-metallic metal, gold, and all the kinds of stuff like that. Now the Marines that I do now, the Primaris, look a lot more detailed, and I can look back and appreciate how much I've grown as a painter throughout that process.
I think that's what I feel like with when I first started painting my Eldar, I called that my showcase army. It was like the best army I had painted at the time, and I learned a lot of painting techniques with that army. And when I painted it, I thought it was amazing. But now when I look back, I think I could probably have done a lot better, or I could do a lot better now. So now, like you said, I've got my Saved by Slanesh army, which is like the best that I can paint at the moment. But who knows, in 10 years' time, I might look at it and think, Yeah, it's okay, but I could do better now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I look back fondly on those moments and how proud I felt, and just looking my painting journey and see
Yeah,
that I've improved. So
yeah. I think that's with everything in life, like even
yeah.
YouTube videos, which we'll talk more about later, of course. Like you make a video and think that's the best video I've ever made,
Hmm.
and then when you
Yeah.
look back about a year later, you think that is so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember a couple of videos that doing well that only had audio on one side. It was just, it wasn't. I was like, it's a great video. However, the audio, oof, not so good. So,
Yeah, yeah. So, because you mentioned your Space Wolves,
mm.
do you have any other armies? Because I secretly know that you have quite a few little boxes, don't you?
Well, yeah. You see, Warhammer is truly an addiction. I'll tell you that. I do remember picking up a couple of boxes. I've always been a sucker for the Battle Force boxes and the Christmas themed ones. However, recently those boxes have gotten quite expensive,
I
like
have, yeah.
almost double that what I paid. I think the most I've ever paid for Battle Force box was 150 USD. I don't know if that translates in British pounds, but I do know that it was definitely more affordable, so to speak. Even though people complained about the prices before, but now it's just gotten so intense. So let me just take a look at a list of possible armies and all the armies that I have. Yeah, I kept on buying so many. So let's see, Warhammer, Explore. It used to be so easy to get the armies on this website, but no, not so much.
I think at least the GW do give you money saving boxes these days. I mean, there was once
do.
upon a time
Mhm.
they never did that. They'd do like a squadron of three Valkyns, Eldar Valkyns in one box, and you saved absolutely zero money
Oh
from
yeah,
buying three in a box to buying three separately.
yeah. So yeah, and what you're paying for is the convenience of having them all in one box.
Yeah,
That's what.
yeah.
So, oh my gosh, I know I have this over here. I'm trying to get this Explore Games. Okay, this is not helpful. All right, so let me do it off the top of my memory. So are you looking for Age of Sigmar armies or just clearly 40K armies?
I think we'll stick with 40K because we've only got an hour.
Okay, yeah, this is true. This is true. Okay, so let's see. I'll start off with Space Marines. I have Iron Hands, and I'll have 3 to 6,000 points around that for each one of these armies. So, Iron Hands. Let me see. I have Dark Angels. Let me see. I have. I'm just talking loyalists now. Ultramarines, Space Wolves. Let me see. There's Custodes. Um, gosh. The Loyalist faction. No, never got into that. Never got into that. Space Marines, Space Marines, Space Marines. I think that's it for Space Marines. I think so. Yeah, I can't recall anymore. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Wait, I have I forgot I have Black Templars as well. Yeah, I have
Okay.
about 6,000 points of Black Templar. I can't believe I forgot that. Uh, okay, so that's Space Marines. Okay, so and then we have well, I mentioned the Custodes. I never got into the Sisters. Let me see. What other faction? Oh, Necrons. Oh no, that's not loyalist. I'm sorry. Let me cycle back. Of course. I don't think I have any more loyalists. Okay, I think that's it. Mostly Space Marines and Custodes. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Am I missing any? I don't know. Possibly. And then we have. Let's get into Xenos. Okay, so I have 6,000. Well, more. I just got a Taunar. I went to Nova Open and I picked up a Taunar, which is the resin kit from the larger resin kit from Forge World,
Right.
the biggest robot that they have, and yeah, I spent over 700 on that one model. Goodness, Forge World resin is not cheap, but I am going to enter that one into a competition for the next Nova Open to see.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to have quite a few things happening with that, and that's a celebration of doing something. When it comes to my Tau army, which I've started about 6 years ago, and I had a massive collection of Tau, which some people said that I would never paint, that I would burn out, that there was no way that I can get that done. Well, I'm finally done. I proved them wrong. So I'm done with that box. That's not to say that I didn't order the new kill team with the new Vespid, and I did order the box for the what are they called? The other species that are with Tau. It'll come to me. But I did order those books, those as well. So more Tau stuff is coming. However, I want to be done with that army simply because I have so many armies to paint. So I said, as I mentioned, I have Necrons. I had to do it live. That's right. I do have, about 6,000 points of Necrons that I would do. Although my collecting style is eclectic, and we'll get into that. Xenos orcs. I have orcs. I have massive amounts of orcs. I have so many orcs, it takes like a closet to fill just my orc collection. Oh gosh, I think that's it with the Xenos. Now let's go into the non-loyalist chapters. So I have oh goodness, not Slaves to Darkness. I have Angron is World Eaters, right? So I have World Eaters. And I have a massive collection of Nurgling. I mean, not Nurgle. It's Death Guard. Thank you. I have a massive collection of Death Guard. And let's see. I have, I think I have some Night Lords. No, that's just conversion bits I have for Night Lords. Let me see. I didn't mention Kakardons. I do have a Kakardon army, which I bought bits for conversion and models dedicated to that. Let me see.
This sounds like you're confessing to me, Rob. This does.
I am. This is my dirty little secret. That's not a dirty secret at all. My wife is on board with this, which is amazing. So, yeah. Treacherous. Okay, so I have all the. Did I get any Slaanesh? No, I didn't get any of this last year. I was waiting for. Slaanesh coming out with all. Yeah, I do want the Primarch though. Fulgrim. I think it's Fulgrim, right? No, it's not. I do have the Spider. I do have him waiting. It's Phoebius Bile. So I love that model, and I love the books. I mean, I love the Clone War books. They're amazing. So no Noise Marines yet, but that might be in the works. We'll see. What other? Orn, Nurgle. What other? Am I missing one?
Yeah, you sent Zinch.
Zinch, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's 4, isn't there? 4 gods.
Yeah. Nurgle, Zinch, and then what's the 4th?
Got Slaanesh, Khorne.
Yeah, Khorne. We have Nurgle
and Zinch.
Slaanesh. Oh, Slaanesh and Zinch are 2 different ones. Yeah. Oh, I have 1,000 Suns army. That's right. There it is, right. Zinch. Yeah. All right. So I had to have one of each. Okay. And that's just my 40K collection of anything that's 3,000 to 6,000 points. Anything that else I have under 3,000 points, I think.
Okay. Wow. That's great. Okay. Well, that's the end of the show. Thanks.
Yeah, I have quite a few of AOS armies as well. So there's that.
So obviously, your channel name, of course, is the Miniatures Paintbrush. We are going to talk more about your channel in a minute. We haven't finished talking about your hobby, but it's bringing me on to: are you buying all of these miniatures and armies because it's the painting side of things that you actually love, or is it just that you are a collectaholic?
The two things that led me to my impossible collection. Thing number one, I wanted to have content for my channel, and seamlessly endless content for my channel. That's one. Another thing is that if I ever see something that inspires me for a model, it would have to be a really impressive model, like a Spenter piece for my model. I will enter that into a painting competition. And then I will do it to the best of my abilities. I'll call on people. I'll call Vince Venturella, if you know who he is, and he'll tell me, he'll give me feedback. Eric Swinson, a lot of the masters, Sam Lance I talk to a lot of the top tier artists, because they see me applying for each of the competitions, and they know my work, and I get to meet them face to face, and then conversations start, and then you just get to know these painters who will give you feedback on your miniature and say, you know what, we're judges. We're not going to judge this year, but this is what judges are looking for. So you really need to tune this up, or higher contrast in this, or tell a story with your base, not just any base. It has to tell a story. I'm like, okay. So that's another thing. The third thing, and I think it's the loneliest thing, I figure if you build it, they will come. For example, if you lower the barrier of entry for playing Warhammer, then you would play Warhammer, or more people would be sort of susceptible to playing Warhammer. So if I had all these armies and all these options and the codex, you could literally come over, not bring an army, and play to your heart's content. Yeah, and it's so much so is that motivation that I hand built a table with a 1-inch recesses so the dice won't fall out, and cup holders and everything that I made. It took me 2 years to create that table, just for the purpose of having people over and enjoying the hobby that I absolutely love. And whether they have their army or they don't have an army, they can still play. The barrier entry is so low, they could just get into the rules and start rolling dice. So I think that's my biggest thing. Yeah. It's like, I like the look of that army. Okay, let's play it.
Yeah. It's really nice when you are like on the other, if like one of those people come into your house, because I've been there myself actually. When I go around my buddy's house, he has the old man of Wargame, the basically fantasy with boats.
Nice.
And he's got, I think it's only one fleet he hasn't got. He's got all the fleets.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go around there and we can play, and I just borrow one of his armies. He's got all the rules. He knows all the rules, so he can guide me and stuff. And I have great fun playing the game with no commitment of having to buy and paint and store like a new army of any description. So yeah, it's a good idea. You must spend quite a bit of time doing hobby. So let's ask you that question. How much time do you hobby, and also how much time do you get to play?
Okay, so obviously there's a sacrifice, and if you want to hobby as much as I hobby, then things like watching TV and going and watching movies, it's very rare, because I decide to take that time and apply it to my hobby. So the first thing, and I'm very tiered when it comes to different things. I'm very regimented. So my family and work. All right, family comes first, number one. So any commitment that I have to my family comes first. Work, because I'm a teacher and I influence kids' lives, and I want to be a positive influence to their lives. So planning really meticulously great lessons that they'll have fun and learn, and grading their work, giving meaningful feedback, and contacting parents and letting them know your child is doing this in school and they can be better if they just did this. So open lines of communication. I'm on the phone with parents because I'm a parent myself, and I wish that a teacher would tell me how can my daughter improve in her schoolwork and what I can do. So that's a really big concern. And that takes up most of my life. And then when I have some spare time, when I'm not playing with my daughter and she's not investigating sharks on YouTube because she loves that, my algorithm is, I have shark videos now. So she's in time. When she's asleep and everything else, and everything in the house is done, I hobby. Now, the thing is with hobbying, I have so many bright lights that my mind doesn't tell when it's day. It thinks it's day all the time. Because with a flood of light, and with painting as meticulously I do, because I really try to pour myself into every miniature that I build. Sometimes I stay up all night. Sometimes Friday night, I'm probably not asleep. I skip sleep one night, and I'll just hobby throughout the entire evening and then start the next day. That's how it is. So painting takes up a majority of my time simply because I have a massive collection, and I would like to paint them all before I pass away. That would be great. Um, so, so painting takes up most of my time, and being involved in the community of professional painters and getting their advice takes up a lot of my time. As far as playing is concerned, well, on my kitchen table right now is a game of Kill Team that I'm teaching my wife how to play. So she is.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. She's really into the Warhammer Underworlds. She's gotten into that, and now she's getting into Kill Team, and then we play Malifaux as well. So there's that. But since I'm playing Kill Team, it's the original Kill Team that I just opened the box for and painted the miniatures. It's more like a mini 40K, which is great because once she has the rules for that. Exactly. I do have that table, and I'll be playing that. Now, I also Dungeon Master a D&D game as well. So my brain is hardwired to constantly achieve something. Some people have that in them where they just have to keep moving, have to be creating, have to keep going. And I can't just sit down idle for long without me getting nervous or I haven't accomplished anything today and I want to do something. And that's what my joy brings. So I have like this font of energy that keeps me going like the Energizer Bunny. So that's where I find the time playing. I would say I would play a game of Kill Team or Underworlds or some Warhammer related game. I would play like 4 times a month or once a week. Once a week would have been good. Is a good ratio for playing. And painting, well, I don't know. I would put in anywhere from 8 to 20 to 30 hours a week, I would say. But the minimum would be 8 hours because then I would not sleep on that Friday. But if I have nothing to do over the weekend and the grandparents take my lovely daughter for babysitting, and my wife is just reading. She loves to read, so she'll read by me while I hobby, which is great. Yeah, that's great.
I get the feeling that maybe you're a bit like me. Like when I've got a little project like half underway,
yeah,
I'm always constantly thinking about like, right, next I'm going to be doing this, and you just can't wait for the next like little painting session that you get, whether it be an hour or a couple of hours.
Absolutely.
So some people can half paint something and just like leave it, even like take it and game and play with it, and then like 3 years later, it's like, I might do the next layer on that unit.
No. I could not bring an unpainted figure to the battlefield. No, thank you.
do you literally paint like a unit or an item fully before you move on to the next project, or do you something like have lots of things half painted?
Oh, yeah. So what I do in my painting process is I will first sand down, fill in gaps, and make sure that everything is prepped. I'll look at the item and see what's the easiest way I can get my brush into things. And then I do sub-assemblies according to that. I'll build as much as possible and then do sub-assemblies.
Yeah.
And then I will prime those things left in their sub-assemblies. And I'll put, let's say, a Battle Force box. I'll do every single unit that way. And once they're done there, I'll take it to the next level, which is paint one unit fully. And then paint all the majority things that I can do, and then paint one to its fullest extent and looking backward, the basing and everything else and saying, I've accomplished something. It drains me when I have to do, like I did 120 ghouls for my Flesh Eater Quartz army, which is quite a bit of ghouls in one go. Yeah. So there I was doing batch painting where I was just going for all the nails, then go through another one. And that nearly killed me. So then I just took 20 at a time and completed those as it went to get to the 120. But it was a marathon for that one. But I do enjoy feeling like I accomplished something. So painting one person in that unit fully makes me feel better and make me want to come back to that painting table more to complete another one. So, and I've gotten with the Tau, when you paint something over and over again, it becomes simpler for you. You can do it in a less amount of time. So instead of painting one fully, I'm painting 3 a night. Every night I'll paint 3, 6, and I'll start coming up with that. It used to take me a week to paint one miniature to exact detail, but it's all muscle memory at this point. But yeah, so Not batch painting, but painting something completely, almost complete, and then completing one at a time.
Yeah, very, very
Definitely.
interesting. I think
Yeah.
also it depends on the quality you're painting to as well, doesn't it? Because I generally like to batch paint mine. And I think the main reason I started that way is because I like everything to look the same, especially like with the Necrons. You know, I want them all to look the same.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, right, I'm going to get my like Necron wraiths, and rather than like doing three wraiths and finishing them and think, oh, now I do the next three wraiths. Is that I want to do all 18 wraiths all together, so I know they all look the same.
Right.
Because I'm scared that I might do a unit of 6 and then like 2 years later do another unit and they're not going to be the same.
Oh yeah. No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. I understand.
But also, like, whilst I really, really do enjoy batch painting, primarily because I feel like I'm getting a lot more done in one go.
Okay.
At the beginning, it's a bit more of a slog. I mean, I painted, once I painted 100 and something like Tyranids all in one go.
Mm.
And it is a slog, but when you get about 50% of the way there, and you look at everything, you're like half painted, and you think, yeah, in maybe another month or a couple of months' time, I'm going to have painted all of those miniatures, and
Right.
it's like feels like you've really achieved something.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you're painting to a much higher standard, because obviously most of my painting is just like tabletop standard.
Okay.
But when I painted my Noise Marines to the best ability that I could, I still batch painted, and that was really hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like painting a shoulder pad on 36 miniatures when you've got to glaze and blend them. Really hard work. It's
Yeah, it
much
is.
easier when you're painted to a higher standard to paint with like maybe one miniature or just like 5 miniatures. If you're painting like 30 miniatures and you've got to paint these to such a high standard, I think there's more motivation for you to maybe do it a bit quicker, or maybe not quite so many glazes, just so you can get onto the next miniature and sort of get it processed. That's what I find anyway.
Yeah, with me, I always try to paint every miniature to learn one skill. And I figure if I keep learning more skills and pushing myself in different areas, that I'll become a better painter. And people out there are becoming better painters. If you look at those painting competitions, they're phenomenal at this point. So I always try to push myself, and I'm not in a rush to play a game because I hardly play. so, yeah, and I'm getting enjoyment doing that. I don't feel like I need to rush through anything. I enjoy the process more than anything.
Yeah.
And get reward that I'm learning something new. Like if I try a non-metallic metal goal and really sell it and it looks fantastic, even though I haven't finished the entire model, I feel really proud of that non-metallic metal gold. And I'll go around the house and say, look at the metallic metal gold. And everybody's like, oh, that's nice, dear.
Right, yeah, yeah.
But you know what? I feel good. I feel good. So
I think this is it. I think because obviously I do game like every couple of weeks generally,
nice.
but I know that if I didn't have a gaming partner and I wasn't able to play the game, that I would still enjoy the hobby just as much, because I do really enjoy painting, and I'd be happy to try to just improve my painting skills by painting different models. At the moment, I'm painting to play probably more.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I want this new unit and I want to paint it and I want to play it. That's like my process. You know, buy it, paint it, play it, and I do paint it to a good standard. But my ultimate goal at the moment isn't to like really improve my painting as such. But sometimes it is nice to do that. I know that Richard has earmarked me to paint. I think it's Mortarion. He's got the Mortarion miniature. He's got a Death Guard army. I think he was given some models, some Death Guard models. So I know he's earmarked me to build and paint that. So I'm looking forward to that, because that will be a really nice, different challenge, you know, for me.
I love Richard Gray's Mortarion. It is gorgeous. So if you have not seen it, take a look at Richard Gray's Mortarion. It blows my mind. Even if you get close to that level, it'll still look amazing.
Okay, excellent. Well, we've ran well out of time for the,
Really? Oh
but
no!
no,
Are you serious?
no.
I could
To
talk to
be
you
fair,
forever.
to the viewers, um, obviously we discussed this before, but you haven't really played 10th edition. You don't know too much about it at the moment, do you? So
Yeah.
we're quite happy to maybe not have so many questions at the end about 10th edition and just chit chat about painting.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but now
Mine
we're
has a
going to chit
painting channel.
chat, yeah, about your hobby. Not about your hobby. We've done that.
Yeah.
About your channel,
Okay.
because
Wonderful.
yeah, that's obviously another big thing.
Mhm.
So just a reminder, Rob does have a YouTube channel. It's a really awesome channel. I have been subscribed to it for a very long time, and it's linked up in the description below. So make sure you check it out. The Miniatures Paintbrush.
Yeah.
And yeah, Rob, tell us about your channel. What inspired you to start your channel?
I have a stepson who wanted to start a YouTube channel, and I said to myself, "Listen, it can't be that hard. All you have to do is get a motivating factor, something you love doing, have consistency with that, and a passion and a drive to share that information with others. Once you have those things in place, you can do it." Well, he did not believe me, so I set forward. I was like, you know what? I have this little hobby of wargaming. It's probably not going to turn into anything, and nobody cares. But you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a YouTube channel. So I guided him through the whole processes and stuff like that. After a while, he saw how much work it was, and he was like, maybe I don't want to do a YouTube channel. But at that point, I had a nice subscriber base, about 600 subscribers. And I was like, people are tuning into my channel. I was like, well, I can't let them down now. And I have so many other models to paint. Yeah, I have some material for the channel. I just kept it going, and it just became a process of evolution. And sometimes I do wacky videos, but it's mainly painting videos that I do.
Yeah.
If I learn a technique and I was like, wow, that looks amazing, I want to share it with everyone. And that's where it comes. And recently I've gotten into 3D printing. I have a 3D printed chainsword that I'm working on for the project. I'm finishing up my Tau army, going on 6 years and creating a Tau army. I don't know, maybe I'll start a Necrons army next. And yeah, so we try to have some fun within the channel. My wife is into it as well, which is amazing. That I'm very fortunate with that. She supports my hobby and my channel and everything else. And it's a great place to always try to improve your painting abilities. It's not really I don't follow the meta as much. You're a good person to follow the meta, actually. But yeah, if you just want to improve your painting skill, hopefully I can motivate you. And people say I have a really relaxing voice. I think one of my compliments were, "You put me to sleep every night." And I'm like, "Oh no, what do you mean?" I was like, "No, it's so relaxing. I place one of your videos and it helps me hypnotically put me to sleep in my relaxing voice." So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, at least you're watching the channel.
I remember the videos you made a good few years ago where you were literally stuck in your hobby room because you had a bad leg, I think, didn't you? And
Yes.
you couldn't go up the stairs, so you were literally like living in the hobby room, just doing
Yeah.
the hobby.
It was a paradise. It was all I did was paint it. In fact, I painted like 4,000 points of my flesh eater courts army for Age of Sigmar. So yeah, it was amazing. I got to hobby all day.
I think we all had a bit of that during the COVID sort of times where we were
Yes.
stuck at home, not much
Do you
else
have
to
a
do,
COVID?
but yeah, watch YouTube videos and paint.
Do you have a COVID army, or did you just expand one army? Or
No,
at
I
that
was
time?
painting because of course, ninth edition had
Yeah,
literally just dropped, I think, before COVID, if I remember
yeah,
rightly.
yeah.
So I did the Indomitus box set.
Nice.
Well, I had two halves of the Necrons, and I
Mhm.
just batch painted all of them in one go.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that kept me busy.
I bought two of those boxes. I still have them. Oh my, so many minutes. So many minutes.
Have you actually painted any Necrons?
I have not yet. I have not yet. I'm looking for a technique that would best suit mines and what kind of Necron or dynasty that I'm thinking about picking out with my play style. I know very little about Necrons, even though I have a 9th edition codex. That's another thing. I play 9th edition because once 10th edition drop, you can get a codex for 9th edition easily. So I have a lot of 9th edition codexes.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, there's that. So
I was thinking, do you have an army which is white, like painted white?
Yeah. My Tau is white.
Your tower's white.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always thought that like white Necrons would be really cool.
Yeah.
But if you've got a Tau white army, then that's probably not a good idea.
I'm thinking about maybe a black Necron army with glowing armor, like the insides glowing out or emanating non-metallic metal. Object source lighting from the inside out, like growing outwards. So I think that would be something I might get into, something that would challenge me because I don't know how to do it. Yeah. And I would have to sacrifice long hours making mistakes. But I think once I nail it, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Do you have like one model, which is your test model, which you just like paint over and over and over again?
When it comes to different armies, yeah, there's just one, and I'll just come up with an inspiration piece. I think I have mine. No, I have it at hand. But I do have one for the Tau. And the reason why I started painting the Tau is because someone left one Tau in a gaming store, and they said it was mine. And I'm like, this isn't mine. It's like, well, we need it out of the store. So now I was like, okay, so I'll just paint this Tau up. And I call him Timmy the Tau because it's my first Tau, and it doesn't belong to a unit or anything like that. And it was painted to the ability. I was like, you know what? I've always been intimidated by painting white. It's hard to paint white. So whenever I see a challenge, I have to go for it. Like if it's hard to do, I'll probably do it until I master it. And I was like, well, how dare you be difficult for me to do? No way. So yeah, I'm always up for a challenge like that. Yeah. So yeah, I'll have a Necron army. I'll just paint one. Red seems really nice for Necron army. Also, I do
bright
like
orange
those.
as well. I think bright orange.
Orange, yeah, orange and black. That's great contrast.
Yeah.
So
how is your channel doing at the moment? How many subscribers have you got?
About 4,100 and something, 30, I think, or something like that. Yeah. It's still been small, and I've been working on producing my videos to a higher standard and quality. I missed of going through my third studio, so my third different kind. So reorganizing. I think I nailed down the volume pretty well with this nicer microphone and everything else. Just getting a backdrop, I think that would be the next step, and doing things like that. But also video editing. That's changed so much, especially with AI. Currently using Adobe Suite. I like to use their entire services because I'm a teacher, so I get a discount on getting all that because it gets quite expensive. Yeah. But yeah. So learning new things, looking at other people's videos, and it's like, you know what, I can do something unique, individual to me, but similar to that, or work into a different kind of like swiping or scenario or kind of environment. So right now, instead of working on one miniature and painting one miniature and developing that, possibly a project. So I could take a Battle Force box and say, okay, this is my next project that I'm going to do, and then show how I painted each individual thing in that box set. And then that would be a video, which takes a lot longer to do. However, I think the quality of the video would be better.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people do tune into your channel to learn as well. You know, they actually get something from your channel.
I hope so. I'm a teacher.
Well, this is it exactly. You know, obviously, you know, some channels, they give you the latest news that's just come out, and then that's it. They probably never return as well to that. You know. Right. Whereas I bet you have like a real core like set of subscribers which come back, you know, and they enjoy what you do, and then they take what they've learned in your videos and like trying to apply it, etc. So yeah,
I get replies for videos I've done 4 years ago, and they say, oh, what paint did you use then? I'm like, oh, okay, let me look at the video again. Like, oh yeah, that's the paint, I remember now. And that's another thing. If I ever do a formula for an army, it's all documented in a video, so I know exactly. I don't even have to write down what I used. It's all there.
Yeah, so, no, exactly. Yeah. So let's have a look. What do you enjoy the most about your channel?
Interaction with people. Having people look in, like higher level painters come in and comment, or call me, hey, you put this on your channel, you have difficulty doing this, let's talk, let's chat. So the channel afforded me the opportunity to meet people I wouldn't have met, like you yourself. So giving that contact with people in the community and amazing people in the community, I think that helps. And I think the most rewarding thing to me is when someone comments on a video, let's say I did like 4 or 6 years ago, and they say, you know, this really helped me. And I'm like, I feel overjoyed. I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I wanted my channel to do. I wanted to help other people.
Yeah.
That's my main goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that a lot, mainly on my magnetizing tutorials.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Nice.
like the Ghost Ark one, which I made, it's got to be 12 years ago or so. You know,
Right.
people still comment on there, you know, this is fantastic, they saved me a fortune, or, you know, or like it's really easy to do it, thanks, you know, and stuff like that. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, it is good when you know you're helping someone, saving somebody some money, making their life easier as well, you know.
Although the most viewed one on my channel is a 124 scale model Corvette split window coupe. For some reason, that got the most views, like 40,000 or something.
I've never done a car, but I have watched. I am subscribed to a few YouTube channels which do model cars, and it is a totally different thing. You know how they paint their cars, and
we should challenge ourselves. Maybe we have a competition. We'll paint a 124 scale model car. What do you think?
Mine would just be dry brushed. They would dry brush silver.
Oh, fun stuff. Maybe we'll do a Spitfire.
Yeah, that's doable.
Yeah.
So, do you have a goal for your channel? Like, any ultimate goals?
Well, mine was really has always been, the channel has been for selfishly for me to help other people. And as far as growing the channel, I wouldn't mind staying a low count channel. It's the quality of people, because I wouldn't mind hecklers or people who have negative comments to come into my channel. No matter how many subscribers I would get like that, I would rather not. I'd rather have an open community that's peaceful and share information. And even if they criticize things, that's fine. I'm willing to learn. I'm not perfect. And that I can grow from that experience. But, you know, hecklers, I can do with that. The ultimate goal of my channel, reach and help as many people as I possibly can, and be a positive inspiration for the community. I think that would be the best thing that I can do.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. It's about being true to yourself, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, occasionally I might do a ethical clickbait type video, you know, because I think sometimes it's good to have that, just to like get the algorithm, like, you know, liking your channel a little bit more. But I do that occasionally, but most of the time it's just whatever I'm doing at the time. You know, if I'm making an army list, I think, oh, I might be able to make this into a video, you know, and then I'll do an army list video. If I'm painting a miniature, I'll do a painting video, you know, and then obviously battle reports is a big part of the channel as well.
Yes.
Every time I play, I record it, always have done. So since I've had the channel, I think I've only played maybe 2 games that I haven't actually videoed, or had been videoed by somebody else on somebody else's channel. But yeah, obviously I did my It's Over video. I
remember that. Yeah. Oh, that almost brought me to tears, because there's like so much going on in Nick's life, you know, and he's such a positive influence for the community and helps so many people unified, you know. Absolutely.
So I had that video idea in the background for a while, actually, because Necron Girl, like, about a year ago, said that she didn't want to do it, and like I emailed myself, which is what I always do with, like, when I have like an inspirational thing. So I've got it written down somewhere, and I just emailed. So I had this email saying it's over. Sat there for about a year. I just didn't know how to make a video out of it. I knew that when I made it, it would be quite a clickable video.
Absolutely.
But I didn't feel that like a 3-minute video just about Necron Girl, like not doing Necrons anymore, was going to be any good. And then I came up with that idea. I thought I'll do a channel update and I'll use this opportunity to do the It's Over bit and put that little update in there, and then do lots of other updates, you know. It's what I call ethical clickbait, but
Yeah. I had a video prepared about female custodies because I knew that would arise and be clickbait, but I deleted the video. I was like, no, you know what? I can't do that. You can't do that.
No.
What do you think of female custodies anyway? Have they always been part of the 10,000?
I have no idea. No comment.
Oh, Minnie.
Do you have any exciting video ideas coming up for the channel? Any exciting projects?
Oh, plenty. I've been doing so many ideas. There's one that I just painted about 80 different miniatures for my D&D campaign. And I did that in 3 weeks. And that I have a lot of different things. So speed painting or a gaming table. I think that's going to be a big video that I'm going to do. I'm going to show my speed painted miniatures and how I did that. Another video is going to be one with the chainsword, and I'm going to paint that up. It's probably going to be more Space Wolves style. So right now I printed out the purity seals, and now I have to write and do calligraphy on each one of those and say a message. So I'm working on that too. So painting on material, which is interesting. So I'm working on that as well. So, and there's a couple of another sides. I think my players are very interesting, and they make interesting ideas when it comes to D&D. So I was thinking about getting into animation because I do draw, and I might have an animated series on the D&D stuff that I do. That might be thrown in there as well. Battle reports. I think of playing either Warhammer Underworlds and doing a battle report there, or doing a kill team battle report. Although my kill team, we're starting with the original kill team, so it's very Space Wolves versus Tau right now. And I do have other kill team boxes. In fact, I bought the new kill team. Why do I do this to myself? I just started playing kill team, and I already bought the new box, but there it is. Yeah, and starting a new army once I finish my Tau army, and that's the main focus. Which army am I going to pick next? I don't know. There's so many to choose from. What's going to be the focus of the channel is the question. Possibly finishing up any Space Wolves that I have, and some of the boxes that I do that, but I don't know which direction it is. I do have a lot of Primarchs, so that's always fun. And speaking of which, I think Space Wolves are coming out with a release. So, are we going to see Russ? Are we going to see Russ? That's the one. Is it the Wolf time? I wonder. So that's going to be exciting as well. So those are things coming up for the channel. More interactivity. I think better quality videos instead of quantity videos is going to be the thing that I'm doing. I don't want to produce just to produce. I want something to be really valuable that somebody can take away from. So that's my major focus with the channel right now.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, if that sounds good to you, then yeah, like I said, there is a link to Rob's channel in the description below. So make sure you check it out. Right. Well, we have about 5 minutes left to talk about the state of 40k.
Okay, let's do this.
So, yeah, obviously you haven't played 10th edition yet.
Not yet.
But out of all the editions that you have played, which one is your favourite?
I would say 9th edition came into mind as being my favorite at the moment. I haven't played 10th edition yet, and it seems like it's really good because they got rid of codex creep, which is amazing. That's amazing. And getting leaders into battle instead of them sitting on the back line is also amazing. I do like those things in 10th edition. However, it was cheaper for me to get into 9th edition once 10th edition dropped because I could just buy all the codex for all my multiple armies. Because if I were to do that for 10th edition, I would run out of money for miniatures. That would be a travesty.
So it's not that you're not playing at the moment. It's just that you're playing 9th rather than 10th. Is that right?
Yeah, I do have I have the 10th edition, and I have the codex for Tau. So if I ever went to a gaming store and wanted to play a pickup game of 10th edition, it wouldn't be a problem for me to do so.
Okay.
But nobody likes to play Tau, so there's that. Oh, you have Tau? Never mind. It's like, because I've heard the thing, if you've gone to round 2 and you haven't wiped the other person off the board, you're not playing Tau correctly. This is what I've heard. I'm like, really? Like, that's not even a game. It's like, it's Tau.
I did face Tau once in a tournament.
Ooh.
I think it was seventh edition. I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
A lot of Overwatch.
yeah, I was doing quite well in the tournament.
Nice.
I was in, I think it was eighth position by the last game. So obviously it put me not on the top table, but I was like, I played a good player basically because where I'd done so well. And I came up against Tau, and it was a horrible Tau army. I think I had like
Oh.
300 shots just in turn one, and pretty much it was over after the first turn. He had first turn, it was pretty much over. And obviously that shot me down the rankings quite a bit. But yeah, no, Tau certainly, they have been quite nasty over the years. I'm not so sure about in 10th edition. I've not really faced them that much apart from Combat Patrol. I faced them in Combat Patrol. But you can't really judge, I don't think, in like a small 500-point game. So
no, not at all. Well, the reason I got into the Tau mainly when it comes to the player base is because someone had decimated my Space Wolves so many times on so many occasions, and they told me, Rob, well, it's not entirely your decision of being a general on the field. It's your army. It's a punchy army. You got to get up close, and this is a shooting game. So I thought, well, I'm not much for Astra Militarum, so Tau it is.
Tau it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So ever
I think
since
Tau
then,
is one of the armies which has really changed over the years, though.
Yeah.
You know, when my old buddy back in, I think, like around 4th, 5th edition, you had like the little Tau Piranha tanks and stuff.
Oh, yeah. I just built one.
The army was very, very different. And obviously when they rebooted it, you had the Riptides and the stealth suits, and it became a totally different army, almost to the point that if you had one of the older styled armies, it's almost unplayable when they rebooted it. And then obviously they almost seem like they've redone that again a little bit with how the drones work, because drones are very different these days, aren't they?
Yes. Instead of them blocking your shots, they're taken in within the unit. So that's part of the unit itself. It's not flying around and blocking your shots. Because with Tau, it's almost like look out, sir. You're shooting at a unit, and automatically one of the drones stand in the way, and it absorbs all the damage, especially if you've done damage with like a high amount of damage. It'll absorb all that damage, blow up, and then the unit's still complete right there. And you have to still contest with all the shots that it has. So yeah, that was pretty disgusting when it came to Tau. So now they made it so it's not so much. So now you can shoot some of their army, and they're not untouchable anymore.
Yeah.
But still,
I think that is definitely one of the good things about 10th edition, how it's all being like balanced, let's say.
Some might say boring.
Some might say boring. Yes, absolutely. But from a fair point of view, it definitely is a lot more balanced, because I've had editions where I just can't win with an army. But also I've had editions where it's very difficult for me to lose with a particular army as well. And that's not fun either way. Nobody likes losing every week.
Right.
But also, nobody likes winning every week. They don't. Well, yeah. I remember going out. I used to play every Friday night. Used to come home, and my other half said, "How'd you get on?" "I won." So, again. And it's like, yeah, and then when the next week you go round to your buddy's house and like their wife says, "Oh, you're gonna make him moody again, aren't you? You're gonna beat him again." It's like...
You're gonna make him moody. I mean, it's the rule of cool. Have your better half choose the army for you. No care about playability or anything else. They choose the units, and that's what you take, and then try to play the game that way. That'll challenge you to rethink your command points and what you're using and how it synergizes. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Absolutely. I've done like weird stuff over the years just to have a fun army, especially in the times when I was winning a lot. So I did this bingo army where I literally drew numbers out for which units I was going to play. So I had this really random army and then trying to make it work. And that was a lot of fun. So I always enjoy playing like weird and wacky armies. So for me,
it's always the role
fun.
of cool for me. Yeah. Not about winning. It's about having fun. It's about having
Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah.
There are some people that place value on who they are as people because they win a game. And it's like, it's not about that. It's about having fun, you know?
Yeah.
It's about strategizing and thinking and yeah. So,
Excellent. Well, it's been fantastic talking to you.
Well, always a pleasure, sir.
Thanks so much for taking the time from the USA, having a chat with me in the UK. It's been absolutely awesome. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Definitely one of my top mates in the UK, and I have to come visit one day.
Yes, that'd be awesome. That really would. Okay, well, in the meantime, if you would like to see some other podcasts, then here is the playlist for you to check out.
Beat me up.
Are you planning on doing any like live streams at any point, or?
I'll try to get into more live streams. I need to do a better setup with the background, so this way I can do that. So I'm working on that. So that's definitely one thing that I want to do is invite people up to my channel. I used to do interviews with top artists. I do have some of those on my channel as well. And every year I do an interview with that as well. But yeah, absolutely. I'd love to have you on my channel.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, let me stop recording.
Okay.